Hi everyone, so today I'll be performing in front of my crafts that I made and my teddy bear that I won at Dave & Buster's as an audience. So I'm going to start now. 2 presidential candidates with sexual assault allegations, dismissal of women as too emotional for leadership positions, shaming of women's sexuality, denial of reproductive rights, are all issues plaguing the US right now. How can these issues be solved? Feminism. That's why you should become a feminist. In this speech, I want to emphasize that feminism helps anyone who faces oppression. To establish my credibility in the subject, I have studied gender studies formally in school since 10th grade. I recognize one may be cautious to join the feminist movement due to the negative aspects of 1. Feminism's racism, and 2. Feminists' supposed hatred of men. Let's dissect our first point, feminism and its racism. To put it bluntly, feminism has had a long history of catering to upper-class white women. For example, Susan B. Anthony, a famous white woman's suffragist, opposed the voting rights of black women. And Simone de Beauvoir advocated for women's rights to work outside the house in her book, The Second Sex, without acknowledging that women of color in that time period were forced to work in the public sphere to keep their families afloat. Truthfully, racism still prevails in the movement today. In the audience analysis of my public speaking class conducted on March 31st, 3 people mentioned disliking the phenomenon called white feminism. White feminism disregards white privilege and the intersections where people of color and their other identities and societal status cause hardships. In being lovingly, knowingly ignorant white feminism and women of color, the author categorizes 2 different kinds of white feminists that do not acknowledge their privilege. There are the first kind, which are those who merely want to possess, use, coerce, and object women of color. And there are the second, those who speak over and for women of color by making claims about their lives and experience and overgeneralizing their plight as a whole. However, intersectional feminism is the opposite of white feminism. It addresses the issues that plague people of all different backgrounds. Kimberly Crenshaw, the creator of the term intersectional feminism, says it refers to the ways in which different factors that affect aspects of a woman's identity, including race, class, gender, sexuality, disability, colonialism, and capitalism, work in relation and influence power in someone's lives. And this was during an interview she had with the Daily Californian. So this kind of feminism, called intersectional feminism, has multiple facets, and it recognizes all different types of an identity or status that a person has in the world, and that opens them up to multiple different forms of oppression. For example, intersectional feminism addresses complex issues like the high rates of infant mortality in the South due to lack of access to healthcare, and how the mistreatment of immigrant groups fleeing dangerous homelands affect our justice system, how environmental pollution affects low-income areas. These are all different types of things that intersectional feminism would address, while white feminism would not address these things. Now, let's move on to our second point, which is a long-held argument against feminism, that the movement wants to suppress men. This belief is categorized under the term known as misandry. Authors of Spreading Misandry, the teaching of contempt for men in Popular Culture, which is a book by Nathanson and Young, point out that in popular culture, men are dismissed as stereotypes such as womanizer, simple-minded, dumb, sexually deviant, and immature. Their arguments are true. However, there are stereotypes that these are stereotypes that surface level, mainstream, lazy feminism pushes. So real feminism would never push these false stereotypes because we know those aren't true. But mainstream feminism, not intersectional feminism, is built upon what's trendy in pop culture right now. And it's empty as a movement. The movement is money hungry, and it does not delve into complex issues and theories like intersectional feminism does. Many intersectional feminist theories, like toxic masculinity, establishing power by robbing others of agency, false privilege slash patriarchal seduction, highlights how oppression disadvantages men greatly too. Real feminism provides solutions to these issues, and solutions that they provide are inclusive and uplifting to all, of course. They promote teaching boys about mental health and emotional intelligence, advocating for male sexual assault victims, and embracing and respecting men of any sexuality, trans men, and non-binary people. So, now I've explained my two arguments against feminism. 1, feminism racism. 2, feminism's supposed hatred of men. In this speech, I've emphasized that feminism helps everyone who faces oppression and the urgency to join the movement. In conclusion, this is why you should be a feminist.